Parents Leading Community Change. It is my pleasure today to introduce and to share with you Patti Keckeisen. She's the Director of Quality for the National Parent Leadership Institute, um, fondly known as NPLI. NPLI believes that families and communities strengthen our democracy when all parents have the leadership skills needed to maximize child outcomes at home and community and in public policy. Patty supports the national and international expansion of the Parent Leadership Training Institute initiative PLTI, which offers parents the civic skills and experience to lead positively on behalf of all children and families. Patty is also a PLTI parent leader graduating from the 1999 class in Danbury, Connecticut. Patty's career shifted from corporate work to parent leadership and civic engagement after taking PLTI. She continues to facilitate PLTI classes in Connecticut and trains new facilitators across the states and internationally. Patty lives in Danbury with her husband Jim. They have two adult children who are both getting married this year. I'm super excited. One of the reasons why I invited Patty on is because I just love her spirit, one, and two, I love to bring people on who are like minded with Be Strong Families. We care about parent engagement is our passion, and it's always great to invite people who share that same passion to present for us. So today, I give you Patti Keckeisen. I'm going to turn it over to you, Patty.
Thank you so much, Sarita and Andrew in the background. Appreciate you. Good morning and good afternoon to everyone across the states. I'm delighted to be here. Yes, I'm in Connecticut, and we finally have springtime in Connecticut. I don't know what it's like where you are. I'm hoping you have a beautiful sunshiny day wherever you are. And thank you for taking this lunch break with us. Um, I adore and respect the work of Be Strong Families. I love the partnership with Sarita in this shared work. And I'm delighted to talk with you today about parents leading community change. So Andrew, thank you. What we're going to be doing together today as you take your break from your day is we're actually going to go through a virtual session that we call a taste of PLTI. Now, I know you've heard two different things here. You've heard NPLI and you've heard PLTI. So I want to distinguish between the two of them first. NPLI is the National Parent Leadership Institute, and it's the name of the national entity that advances parent leadership work across the United States and internationally. The name of the initiative that we expand is called PLTI, the Parent Leadership Training Institute. And it's a civics school for families that was designed and developed some 30 years ago in the state of Connecticut. This is actually the 30-year anniversary of PLTI when it started in Connecticut so long ago through our Connecticut Commission on Children. And so we're celebrating that, and we're happy to bring this experience to you because perhaps parent leadership is a next step that some people are interested in. We know we are so like-minded, and parent engagement changes families, it changes communities, it changes outcomes for children. PLTI is parent engagement and parent leadership. We offer parents a learning experience where they get to hone their civic skills and get to make changes to all the systems in which they interact, be it the family, the neighborhood, community, and public policy. Andrew? So this is what we call a taste of PLTI. We're going to go through an experience with you that we do virtually. And of course, pre-pandemic, we always did in person. And we always start with a land acknowledgement to know that wherever it is that we are today, there were first people here first. Andrew? So we pay our respects to the elders, those who were here first, those in the past, those in the present, who have so carefully stewarded this land on which we reside today through the generations. This is called a land acknowledgement, and we start our gatherings this way in PLTI. We also know that there's been some new thinking on this of late, and that we are actually rethinking we are committed to it. What we're rethinking is how we best do this, because what we want this not to be in name only or performative. We want this to be an action that everyone takes, that they know the land on which they reside. And there is actually an app called Native Land-CA that will, if you put in your zip code, will tell you who were the original stewards of the land on which you reside. And therefore, we can pay our respect to those elders, past and present. I'll leave a moment of space just to be respectful of that. Thank you. And the next slide, Andrew. So what is PLTI? PLTI stands for the Parent Leadership Training Institute. And it's a curriculum that started in Connecticut some 30 years ago and has been replicated in almost 70 different locations across the United States and now in Australia. And it is a family civics leadership initiative. We say it's an initiative because it's not just a program. Rather, it's the start of community change, because the parents or adults who wish to impact the lives of young people and children, you need not be a parent for PLTI, but they initiate community change by applying their weekly leadership lessons in a real thing, a real project. They make change happen right away in their communities. And so, Sarita, I don't know if you know this, we have about, we're probably at 13,000 graduates across the states now. And we'll show a map a little bit later if you're wondering, is it in my community or nearby? But remember, the pandemic forced us all to become virtual. And so even if there's not a PLTI community nearby, there is probably one virtually that you might be able to join if you were so interested. And I have to tell you, my life changed. My life changed with PLTI. Sarita said, yes, I took this in 1999. That was when it was Thursday nights. That was when ER was on television on Thursday nights. Okay, Sarita's laughing, right? Because that's when George Clooney was like only a TV star, right? Hadn't gone global yet. And so I used to come home on Thursday nights and say to my husband, this is amazing. I have more in common with the people in this group of learners than I do in this neighborhood in which I live. And part of that is because PLTI is intentionally diverse. When there is a classroom of PLTI, whether it be virtual or in person, it needs to be reflective of the real community outside of the walls. And so we are collected together and selected into a PLTI class based on so many different aspects: age, gender, family structure, schooling, diversity in all of its different formats. The next slide, Andrew. So we have a definition of parent leadership, and in PLTI, parent leadership is this: the capacity for parents to interact within civic society with purpose and with positive outcomes for children. So by way of this picture, I introduce you to Mr. Hayward McLean, who is also a graduate of Danbury, Connecticut's PLTI class. And seated to his right is the founder of PLTI, Elaine Zimmerman. who founded it some 30 years ago and still leads our work as the chair of the board of the National Parent Leadership Institute. One of our taglines for PLTI is that PLTI helps parents who care become parents who lead. And so that stays with us as well. Andre, would you be ready to run the video?
Our kids deserve to live in a safe environment.
In safe and healthy communities.
Our children need hope.
They need to be nurtured and loved.
Families need more opportunities.
Parents need to be connected.
Our kids need both parents.
They need to be allowed to grow and to blossom.
An education system that will not fail them.
But what can one parent do?
What can one parent do?
What can one parent do? When one parent has the tools, they have the knowledge, coupled with their passion, that parent will know how to join with other parents and rally them to a cause that they can advocate for the common good of all parents and all children.
The Parent Leadership Training Institute is an initiative that teaches parents across the spectrum, across age and area of the state, the civic skills to lead deeply and purposefully for children with good outcomes for them. PLTI came into existence because it was clear in our state that there was a missing constituency, and children won't get very far in public policy gains without parents behind them.
PLTI is the Parent Leadership Training Institute, and it's a 20-week program designed to enable parents to become leading advocates for children. It starts with a Saturday full-day retreat dedicated to community building within the parents of the classroom. Phase 1 lasts for 10 weeks, and those classes are dedicated more to how group dynamics work, group process, speaking in front of a group, and interpersonal skills. Second 10 weeks are focused more on the democracy toolkit.
The first 10 weeks, it was really just bonding with each other as parents. You know, we were sharing a lot of the same experiences. A lot of the issues that we're interested in really come from our own, parenting, our own roles as parents and stuff. And so, but now we're getting really into government and how that is, and so that's been just a great learning experience.
We've talked about everything from how to find different people in government, how to look up policies and follow bills, and that's been very interesting. We've talked about some introspective issues where we've really looked more at ourselves. We've looked at anything that you can really think of that deals with civics and how to deal with parent engagement, parent involvement.
I'm currently facilitating a Spanish People Empowering People. I'm trying to get all my Spanish-speaking families to go out in the community and make themselves heard.
She's trying to develop a Spanish resource center in East Hartford to help bring people together and to help them get what they need to become effective parents and effective citizens. So she's taken the program and is trying to replicate it. She's doing a great job.
When I was first elected as mayor, I was examining one of the needs in our community. One of them was that we didn't have a welcome wagon or a welcome feature to new families moving into the community.
Through PLTI, I was able to birth a program that's called Welcome to a New School, and that was my project. It is still running now. It has been approved in one school as a pilot, and now it is, over the summer I will be working to implement this program into 4 other elementaries.
Walked into the hearing room, which can be an intimidating situation for many people, and discovered Lydia at the podium running the show, and smiled to myself and thought, you know, it works. It really does. It gives people the confidence that they need to go forward and reach out and become the leaders within the community.
I really escalated my work within the school system, developing fatherhood programs throughout the school year to engage fathers with their children to increase children's academic achievement.
My community project is the ACE project, which stands for Aggressively Cultivating Education. And what we're hoping to do is, in partnership with Central Connecticut State University, it's take some of these kids from each middle school in New Britain and taking them for a day at Central so that they can get exposed to what college life is, to be a resource to them, for them to be able to finish high school and hopefully pursue higher education.
I know for myself, when I mention PLTI, no matter where I am, whether it's in a job interview, at my son's school, or in a meeting, when I mention PLTI, most people know of or have heard about PLTI and know that it's a powerful organization.
I was also an advocate for children in a domestic violence program. And I've advocated for them on so many levels.
Right now I do work for the caucus. It is the most rewarding experience I've ever had. I love what I do, and I would not be here if it wasn't for PLTI.
I unfortunately had suffered some tremendous loss in my family, and had gone through a few years of not participating at the fullest in life, actually. The opportunity that PLTI presented at the time was just the perfect thing to create a really enhanced sense of self-esteem and make me feel effective again.
The program has given me a sense of self-worth, truly understanding that I have a purpose here, that I mean something to someone.
They say that PLTI is a life-changing experience, and I'd have to agree with them because it was for me.
What we know from the results are that over 90% are working with people who are different from them with comfort. Over 66% are using the skills they learned in a weekly way to affect change for children. Well, the Parent Leadership Training Institute has successfully gone across this whole state, and the outcome of this is that towns are seeing the effects of parents as leaders for children. Parents are seeing their effects and realize what they can do and how much more they can do.
I would say the PLTI program and the participants in the program are difference makers. They make a difference in the community. They're active, they're forthright, and they're in it for the right reasons. Even though they're coming before a political body, they're really coming for genuine motivation, that is for the betterment of the kids and the children in the community.
PLTI involves parents. Sounds simple and easy, but it is one of the most difficult public policy objectives, one of the most critical and meaningful, and PLTI not only has it as a goal, but also accomplishes it.
PLTI is important to a city and a state, I believe, because of the large amount of apathy that we have in society today. People feeling that their voice cannot be heard, feeling the government is too big, whether it's the Board of Education or city government, they're not engaged. I believe it is essential in order for us to move a lot of policy forward. You have to create the political will, and it happens through people. People do that, using their voice, and that's a good thing. That's a good thing.
I'm getting involved.
I'm starting programs.
I started a foundation
to help more kids stay in school.
I'm strengthening fathers.
I'm helping families become homeowners.
I'm helping the Hispanic community have a voice and be heard.
I lead the change experience for other parents across our state.
I'm advocating for children in any way I can.
With the right tools, it's amazing what one parent can do. To learn what you can do, log on.
Thank you, Andrew, for doing that so seamlessly for us. And Sarita, I'm not sure, oh, I see the smile. Thank you so much from Pam. Sarita, I'm not sure you've ever seen that video. Have you experienced that?
I have not. I have not. It's a really great video. I was right there. I was taking notes.
Thank you. Thank you. What stood out for you, Sarita, that made you want to take a note?
The amount of classes, the weeks that you had. We had something similar but it didn't have quite as many. And I like the breakdown of what you focus on, the group dynamics and the public speaking, and then before you move to the democracy part. So I took that away from it and wrote that, and then also listening to the gentleman talk about, oh, I just lost my train of thought. He was talking about the how people don't value, really, in essence, he was saying don't really value parents. That's the hardest policy, is to engage
Yeah.
parents, or how to engage parents. And
Yeah.
yeah, and I don't really think it's hard at all, but
That's right.
that's my perspective.
That's right. And I think it's because what our organizations share as a value is respect, right? Meeting people where they are, respecting them um, at the highest levels for their dedication, commitment, understanding that parents are the first and best teachers of their children and others, right? Yeah, I think that those values are similar between our organizations for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think, and so for that reason, parent engagement doesn't seem hard to me. It isn't hard. When I hear people say that, I'm always just like, if you treat, that's the equity, our agencies believed in equity before equity was trending.
Amen.
Before it was trending. So it's like, what do you mean? It really isn't hard when you treat people the way that you want to be treated. Parent engagement isn't that difficult.
That's exactly right. And we're hoping that some of you who are listening and watching right now might have similar views on this. We very much value your place in being here, and so thank you for that. Andrew, if we could bring up the next slide, please, when you're ready. We love that Andrew is behind the scenes for us. So the same way that Be Strong Families has agreements, right? When we do this taste of PLTI, whether virtually or in person, we have PLTI hopes, we call them, the HOPES. And these are our ground rules for how we interact, whether always for PLTI. So the H stands for honor and help. This goes back to, Sarita, that respect that we hold for families. We honor families, we honor parents and adults who wish to advocate on behalf of children. We also know that there's strength in both offering help, but also in asking for help. So our H is for both honor and help. Our O stands for open and ouch. Open because we want to be open to various viewpoints, new experiences. We can't all know everything, but we can learn so much from one another if we're open to it. We also have an ouch rule, or sort of an oops rule, that if something is said in a setting that doesn't quite sit right in my heart or in my spirit, or is offensive in some way, that someone can say ouch, or someone can say oops, I made a mistake. And so during those times, facilitators will actually process an ouch. It doesn't mean that it can be fully resolved, but in PLTI, we say we take what's back here at the back of our head and we bring it forward and we look at it, because we address things in PLTI. And so we will make sure to address ouches so that the group and the individuals are at a place where we can still move forward together in that honoring and respectful way. The P stands for participate and pass. In PLTI classrooms everywhere, and in Taste of PLTI sessions, we seek your participation. Your voice matters. That's civics, using your voice and being heard. But we also respect that there are some times when someone might have to pass and not use their voice in a certain time, and we respect that as well. The E in HOPES stands for escuchar, the Spanish word of listening, and also stands for experience. We listen not so much to respond, but we listen to understand, and we value the experiences that each of us brings to this to create this Family Civics Leadership Initiative. The S in HOPES stands for sensitive and safe. Sometimes there might be some sensitive topics that are addressed, but we hope that we create the safe setting here where people can do so in a way that is comfortable for them. And it's not for facilitators to define what safe means, but it's for the participants in the room to define that. And so we'll have a conversation about that in a PLTI setting. So these PLTI hopes are our guidelines or our norms. I'm happy to share them with you. I'm hoping that we can create that setting here today as we are together in this virtual setting. And Andrew, if you could move on then. So PLTI, where are we? This is our national map that also includes little boxes for Hawaii, who are way out there in the Pacific, and in Australia as well. So we have PLTI locations in all of those spots that you see across the United States. And there's words to describe, you know, we have certain statewide initiatives. So in the state of Connecticut, it's a statewide initiative where it's been in 16 communities. In the state of Colorado, which is one of those yellow boxy states that you see on the map, we have something like 14 counties across Colorado that are doing it. And then 5 different communities, counties, areas in the state of Wyoming. Some of our newest sites you'll see in the state of Minnesota, the Red Lake Nation and the White Earth Nation, part of the Ojibwe. And so we are very honored to be there and starting up there locally now. And in some of our locations, we have been here for close to those 30 years that I told you about. Andrew, the next slide. So PLTI parent leaders create change in communities. And they do this because as they're learning the different topics weekly, they're applying their skills in a real way on a project of their own choosing. So PLTI has no agenda. We do not tell parents what they should be working on. When we interview parents, we ask them, what are your concerns for children today? And the answer to that question often becomes the project that they work on. So what you see here is a graph that shows that of all of the projects over the years, 40% of parents who work on a project in PLTI dedicate their project work to the field of education. It could be from preschool to post-high school. It could be, but 40% of our projects are dedicated to that. And so what happens in communities is oftentimes, many times, parent leaders will run for the school board office positions and they win. In my city, the chair of the Board of Education is a PLTI graduate, for example. You'll also see then that 19% of community projects are dedicated to health. And this could be health in all different ways. It could also be environment. And so, so many of our projects that parents dedicate their time to are on health. 13% are on safety. And that 28% of other is really about community development. Because that's where parents say, but our community does not have, and they create it. It might be ultimately that it becomes a nonprofit. It might be a coalition. It might be a collaborative. But there are parents across the United States, almost 30%, who are improving communities significantly by identifying both the assets in the community and the needs in a community. And so I thought that was important to show you if that is of interest to you. The next slide, you're going to have to focus your eyes on. I'll give you a second to make that adjustment, because what we do in PLTI, the reason why we know this is we study our data. Data matters. And so does story, but data matters. So every participant of PLTI everywhere takes a pre-survey before they enter the experience and a post-survey after they have the experience, so that we can see the growth and the actions that are taken. So here you'll see, let's see, I don't know if it's better with the glasses on or the glasses off sometimes. So 89% of PLTI graduates collaborated with people of different backgrounds than themselves to accomplish something in common. 89%. 89% also volunteered. They gave of their time and talents. 85% after PLTI used the internet. 82% advocated on behalf of other children, not just my children, other children as well. Likewise, 82% attended public meetings, served on committees, 78%, worked with others in your broader community, 71%. This creates community change. And is this data new to you, Sarita? Have you ever seen this before?
I have not. I have not.
Yeah, it's this is why I say, I know you've heard me say this, I can't stop doing this work,
Yeah.
right? It's
Yeah.
because of this. It's because of the data that shows the strides that parents make and the impacts that it has in communities. I keep waiting for it to be replicated somewhere where it doesn't replicate with this same high level of quality. And it's never happened, right? In 30 years, it's been an amazing thing. It's really been an amazing thing. So I just want to leave that for a second in case people are interested in data. Some of us love data, others not so much. And that's part of why I wanted to show that video earlier on, because that's the part that tells the stories of PLTI, of the parents. None of that was scripted back in 2007, before my hair was grayer. None of that was scripted. That was all question and answer filming at the state capitol in Hartford, Connecticut. Yep. Yeah, yeah. And thank you, Andrew, for putting information in the chat about that as well. So we do transform communities and we transform lives. The next slide, Andrew, please. We wanted you, as a taste of PLTI, to give you a flavor of it. We wanted to give you an experience that is a PLTI-like activity. Now, our curriculum is copyrighted, and so we're not able to sort of pull something out and do it with you here. But what we've created is a family assets activity. And assets, if any of you, I wish I could ask and get her back and forth, but assets are something that have value, right? Anything that has value. And so there is another fabulous organization called the Search Institute, and thank you, Andrew, for putting that there. The Search Institute also interviews and surveys people across the United States year after year. And what they do is they collect data, and they have distilled for us on one page, what are those family assets that young people need in order to become really successful community members? And so what we're going to ask of you is to make sure that you have a pen and a paper, if you would. And we're going to take a quick break. Do you think that's still a good idea, Sarita? Yeah, they can get a pen, and I'll set my timer for 3 minutes. And when you come back, you're going to hear music. We're going to cue Andrew to play music to get you back to the screen when we're back. But if you wouldn't mind, go get a pen and something to write with, and we'll see you back here in 3 minutes.
Before I start playing Patti, am I playing it now or am I playing it at the end of the 3 minutes?
At the end of the 3 minutes, so they know to come back.
Perfect.
Okay, and I can prompt you on that, Andrew. Thank you. Okay. I'm going to go off screen for 1 minute. About 30 seconds left of our break time. Okay, Andrew, if you can start the music. We welcome you back to the virtual taste of PLTI. Hope you've gotten a pen and something to write on so we can go through together an experience of thinking about the assets in our families. What I like about this is that there's different levels of doing this. So what we're going to ask you to do is to read through, right on time, Andrew. Boy, even before I said it, he's so good. To read through the list. It's broken into sections. Andrew put it also in the chat if that is an easier way for you to review it. And again, these are the developmental assets, family assets as defined by survey from the Search Institute. And what they say is that in these categories of networking relationships, establishing routines, maintaining expectations, adapting to challenges, and connecting to community, that among these are the key qualities that help all families be strong. When I first did this, I posted it on the refrigerator because it was something that I really wanted to keep before me at all times. And what we're going to ask you to do is to go through and review these where you see the bulleted items and jot down those things that you felt that you had an asset growing up. So here we're going back in time. We're asking you to reflect. Which of these family assets, if any, did you have in your growing up years? And we're going to play that cool music again for about 30 seconds or so as you read and review. Because I know we're live, I'm just going to be describing what we're doing right now. And so we are reviewing the list of family assets as defined by the Search Institute. And we're looking at this list of family assets and we're thinking about and reviewing which of these did we have in our own growing up years. Some of them, any of them. This is a type of an activity that happens in a classroom of PLTI where we reflect on what we already know, what we already have, and then we hear from one another and learn more through a small group sharing. Today we're doing it in this large group. I think it's particularly interesting to look at these family assets now in the pandemic or that we're in, right? Because community changed so much during this time. And that last section on connecting to community about cohesion and relationships with others, enriching activities and supportive resources, boy, that really changed now. So if you're able to put something in the chat, if you would like to share, what is one of these assets that you felt that you had growing up? Sarita, you can give voice to yours if you would like to. Others, we will look for your information in the chat.
I'm fortunate. I was going through and my smile just kept getting bigger because I had all of these. I think I had some in mass maintaining expectations. I had some in maintaining I didn't have all the bullet points, but I had enough that I was like, oh, okay, we hit that mark too. So it was good for me.
Thank you. And I do also see, thank you so much, Haley, who typed in the chat about support for Sparks. Family members encourage each other in pursuing their talents and interests. These are good things. And then what we usually do in the next part is to think about which are the assets that our children, that this next generation has today. It's always fascinating to see what's the same and what's different. Because here it's sort of like an enumerated list, right? And it's a real chance to look at it generationally across the generations. Or how does it differ by gender? Does it, right? Because again, in PLTI, we take what's back here and we bring it forward and we look at it. So we ask from a different lens, is that, are these assets the same across gender, across race, across age? We ask those questions and we go there. So in PLTI, we have the elephant because we address the elephant in the room. All of our locations have these elephants. They actually happen to be stress, like stress balls as well, because we do address this. And so if there's anyone who has a question that they'd like to put in the chat or a comment that they'd like to put in the chat, we welcome that. And we really hope that in going through an experience like this, that it makes you reflective and it makes you think about the next generation and how we do even better for them.
I think, Patty, for me, this made me think of this was different from, I appreciated the strength-based approach because oftentimes when you have an opportunity to look at families, most programs or situations look at like ACEs. They're quick to talk about ACEs. And oftentimes they don't have a solution to the ACEs. They just simply talk about them. And so I really like this idea of, looking at what good was in your family, what was great about you, about your growing up, your journey, what was great about it, what strength based things were happening in your family. Is I think that's a real way of being able to make connections to um, giving you hope for wherever you are in the moment in your journey, that you can look back and sort of say, I had these things happening for me, and how can I do more of that, or how does it look different now in my family? If it looks different, why does it look different?
Why? Right.
I guess that's my mind went.
And PLTI, the weekly classes, they give you this time to do that reflection, Sarita, which is a gift in itself, right? In this busy life that we have. And thank you so much for emphasizing assets, because that's part of the point of all this, is that PLTI is an asset-based experience. The curriculum is asset-based. We don't look at community needs maps. We know that there are needs. We focus on the assets. And so we believe that parent leaders lead positive change for children. And NPLI, the National Parent Leadership Institute, is the entity that runs this nationwide. We are a parent-centered, anti-racist organization that partners with parents and communities to equip families with civic skills, knowledge, and opportunities to be the leading advocates for children at home, school, community, and in public policy. So I am honored to have been able to spend time with you today. I know that Sarita does a closeout that I welcome, and thank you so much for inviting me to this experience. I'm honored, truly.
Thank you, Patty. The pleasure was all mine. It's probably all ours. um, and it was interesting to hear more about NPLI and the differences between the two, because I would always get mixed up too. Or it's like, wait a minute, I thought it was. Wait, is it the right one? So I'm glad to know that I was on track. I've had the conversation at my job. Like, is it? I'm like, yeah, I think it is. So, and it was great seeing the impact that you guys are making around the country. I know we only have 5 minutes. I did have a question for you. What was the question you said that you asked parents that helped them to sort of figure out what they want to do in the community?
Yeah. We have a very, very simple application for those interested in taking a PLTI class. And the application has the same question that we ask later in the conversation interview. What are your concerns for children today? Right? We all have a concern.
Yeah.
And what they learn over the weeks is that concern can have consequences, but they can also put action steps in place via their community project to address that. And what's mind-blowing for some who come in saying, public policy, I'm not so sure about this. Well, your concern is a public policy issue area. Boom, right? So if you're concerned that not all children are getting a quality preschool education, that's a policy issue area, right? If you don't think that you impact or that you're interested in public policy, your concern would tell you otherwise.
Yeah.
Right? If you're worried about bullying, that's a public policy issue area of safety.
Yeah.
Right?
No, I'm just thinking. My mind is now like full of questions, which we won't have time to get to. So thank you, Patty. Thank you for this, for sharing NPLI with us. I really appreciate you doing this, especially on your day off. But I'm so glad that I got to share more of you with the world. And this is streaming on YouTube, so people can go back and look at it. And yay! And our YouTube is growing. Woo woo! Yay! And I'm sure this will happen to grow even more. You guys heard such a great presentation today. Do me a favor and drop in the chat what you're going to amplify today after listening to Patty's presentation. Today, our hashtag is hashtag Amplify Parents Lead. But what is yours? Drop it in the chat for us. What will you amplify this week? Amplify hopes. Thanks, Andrew. Anybody else? What will you amplify this week after hearing from our guest today? Let me think of mine. I'm going to put the hashtag Amplify Parents Matter. I'm a parent. Amplify Parents Matter. Thank you, Joey. Thank you, Pam. Thank you for pitching it. Join us this Friday. At the end of every week of webinars, we have, our webinars run Monday through Wednesday or Thursday. And then on Fridays, we have a Taste of Cafe. This week's Taste of Cafe is called Making Lemonade. taking sour situations and making the best of them. Again, these cafes, these Friday Taste of Cafes, are hosted by our National Parent Cafe Leadership Team. Parents from across the country who love doing cafes. Next, I see you, Joey. Hashtag Amplify Parent Engagement. And then remember that we are still springing into vitality. Guys, let me just tell you, it has been so cold in Chicago, and today is the hottest day it's been. It's probably got like 90 degrees. I am melting. So, but I'm still looking for, it's like we skipped spring. We jumped right into spring, right into past spring, into summer. But help us spring into vitality by joining us for all the fun events that we're having for the June through the end of this fiscal year, June 22. If you didn't get that QR code, let Andrew know. He'll put it in the chat. Also, we have two great events coming up. Our Yoga Nitra, Saturday, May 14th, and the Watercolor Paint and Sip, Saturday, May 21st. Go ahead and use your QR code and join us for one of those. I'm going to be at the virtual escape room. Woo woo! Join us. It's only at this very small cost. You don't want to miss it. Come have fun with us. You're with us all the time on webinars anyway. Come relax with us. And then you know that we have these webinars Monday through Thursday all week long. If you use the QR code, you can go and sign up for the next one. You can register for the next webinars. Okay? And Patty, you're going to be on vacation. Feel free to join us, to pop in for 12 o'clock and relax. We'd love to have you. Okay? And then don't forget to join our YouTube community. It is growing. Yay! So go and subscribe to the YouTube community. Follow us. Check out the videos. All of the videos from all the webinars we've done the last 2 years are there on our YouTube page. I've been enjoying them. I'm sure you'll enjoy them too. I always get some really great stuff from those webinars. So you can use the QR code, scan, and go directly to YouTube, our page on YouTube, and follow us. Andrew. Okay, that concludes our session for today. Thank you guys so much. I hope you enjoyed today as much as I did. And we'll see you at the cafe. Yay! Or next Monday. Thank you again to Patty. Patty, we appreciate you coming. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Enjoy your vacation. Yay!